Thank you very much, Jermaine. Chris, welcome home. I know it has been some time since you've been back, but how does it feel to be here after your exploits overseas?
It's always good to be back, Thank you for having me on the show. I'm just happy to be back in Jamaica and get a little downtime now after all of the competition. So,
Yeah, last week Tuesday over in Guyana in the Caribbean Championship, you picked up your ninth title. Has it truly sunk in yet? A record ninth title in the Caribbean?
maybe not. We went straight into the team event after, so there wasn't really any time to relax. So hopefully now over this week I can take a little time to enjoy it and look forward to maybe starting up on the road to 10. So.
And what was your thoughts about the competition there in Guyana as well? You had a number of juniors that made that transition to the senior bracket as well. Did you find the competition similar or different compared to previous years?
Yeah, I think it's always improving, which is a good sign for the region. This year, I want to say we had there's one junior in the quarterfinals. There were about 3 of them in the last 16. So they're coming along, and I still am yet to play any of them in the semis or the finals yet. It's the usual guys, the top guys from the region. But I have a feeling, over the next couple of years that will be changing, and there'll be a little bit of changing of the guard, Hopefully not me in that changing of the guard, but the others probably, yeah.
And from the team event standpoint, where Jamaica finished second, how would you say the team did as a whole, especially Bruce Burrows and Tajay Lumley as well, and you were part of that trio?
Yeah, no, we did really well. Again, I think based on our results in individuals, we had 3 guys in the quarterfinals. That sets up the seeding for the team, and we ended up having the number 1 seed. But it was very close with Ghana, So I think it was always going to be a 2-horse race between us and Ghana, and it ended up being that in the finals. And the match went all the way down to the wire. Our boys, we gave it everything we had, and we just ended up coming up. A point. We were a point away from winning the whole thing at one point. With one of the guys on court, and then, a point away from losing, and then we ended up losing. So, that sport, you can train all you want, try all you want, you put everything behind it, but sometimes, there's a little bit of luck involved, and maybe the home court advantage for them really did play a part.
Yeah, 2019 for you though has been an up and down year. You had a couple of injuries and a bit of inconsistencies on the circuit. What has helped you to get back your match sharpness and getting into the competitive frame of mind to get back your form?
Yeah, it has definitely been I would say more of a down year than an up year until now. So hopefully now we're gonna start rising. But I reflected a bit upon the last year training, different things that we have been using, and we're gonna make some changes that will hopefully be definitely positive moving forward. And I think it's starting to show already, in the sense that I've had I ended up tearing my calf just before Pan Ams, which was heartbreaking because I was really looking forward to that event. I'd gotten silver last year, and then just the timing of it made it very, very difficult to compete at the level where I needed to compete there. So, but using that as a framework, since then it's been 8 or 9 weeks of preparation and training, and now I'm finally starting to feel like where I was, before I started getting these injuries, and now just continuing to build on those changes that I've made to now hopefully have a more successful fall. So, I'm very excited and happy that I did end up winning this event, and winning, relatively on paper, relatively comfortably. It's given me quite a bit of confidence to now try and take that and ride that through the next set of pro events that I start in September. So.
Did your training change at all, or mentally you were able to prepare for what lied ahead, having that time when you were injured?
I think there's a little of both, yeah. I started to cut out a couple of things. I think we ended up doing a little too much physical work off the court, and we have changed that slightly and have a new trainer who's doing more specific things on the court again now. And that was relatively new, and that was one of the few new things we had incorporated last year. So if you really just look at things on paper, you have to pick something that obviously didn't work, So we chose that, and we're going to see how that works now. And yeah, you're right. The mental side of things it did give me time to reflect. I do have a sports psychologist who I work with, and she's great. And it did give me a chance to read a little more about that kind of side of things, and really try and look inside myself a bit, and I think that's given me more drive and more passion, which I think I think has started off positively so far. So I'm going to try to keep riding it out.
Yeah, last year you achieved your highest ever ranking of 65 in the world. Now you're in the 90s, 96. What do you think will be needed to get back up in the rankings and perhaps achieve your target of a top 50?
But first is stay healthy. So that's goal number one now, stay healthy. Because that's half the battle, you know. I think also getting to that ranking, I don't think I fully appreciated it. In the sense, I mean, that's pretty high in the world. And I was always looking to the next thing, the next thing, the next thing. And I think I started to put a little pressure on myself in the sense that, wow, I'm 60 in the world now, you know, I need to stay here, I can't fall off. Instead of embracing that situation at that moment, being like, you know, you're one of the best players in the world, you need to embrace that now and just take your game to wherever it's going to go. And I think that reflection time has really helped with that. And I think I'm enjoying playing a lot more again now. And I also think that's because I am healthy again. So, you know, I think there was just a culmination of different things last year that had led to me having to reflect upon my situation and myself as an athlete that now I think I'm in a better headspace moving forward, and I think it's going to be good.
Yeah, and later this year there's something exciting to be talking about, the World Cup of squash for the team events. You know, when you think about Jamaica in major tournaments, you know, it's not often that we're at a World Cup more than once. Netball, we've been there every 4 years, World Championships in track and field, but to go back to the World Team Squash Championship later this year in DC, it must be an exciting moment to represent your country at the highest stage.
For sure. You know, in France, a year ago now?
2 years ago, yeah.
2 years ago, yeah. That was our first ever World Team Championships for Jamaica, and possibly one of the teams from the Caribbean. You know, we have been, you know, in the 3-man events, we are the best team in the region, hands down. This was a 5-man event, so we just didn't have the depth, and we were missing one of our players, which would have made a lot of a difference, you know, in the result. So even though we did come second, we're still one of the powerhouses from the region. So being on the world stage now against everybody else, just showing what we have as a region, it's an incredible thing. And you know, we got a couple wins at the last one, so I don't see why we can't continue to build on that now at the next one. Ideally, I will be continually getting better, along with the other members of the team, because we have a relatively young squad, and we have guys who are pushing the guys on the team for their places, you know. So it's not like there's 3 men we have and that's it, 4 men we have, that's it. We have about 7 or 8 top class players now pushing each other to try and get into the squad, which has definitely helped everyone's level improve. So you know, I know the community here, I think Jamaica itself is excited for it, and, you know, so are we. So
yeah. 2 years ago in France, we finished around in the high 20s. Do you think that's a realistic aim for Jamaica going ahead to December 20th or top 15 perhaps?
You know, I think we can definitely finish in the top 25. I think top 20 is a goal, an attainable goal. Top 15 might be a little tough right now at our stage, but I think top 20 is probably the milestone we want to look at. As we continue to, you know, still grow the other players. You know, again, we're taking, you know, it's myself, Lewis, Bruce, and Taj Lumley, who this will be his first major international games, and he has come up through the ranks here. So him eventually moving forward and taking, you know, the reins at some point, this will be a big experience builder for him. So again, we're young, but we're good. So I think we can still, you know, get some results right now.
Yeah, and another perhaps something to look forward to as well, squash not yet in the Olympics but could be in Paris 2024. I'm sure that will be an ambition of yours as well, to play in and be an Olympian. Yeah,
I mean, just to be at a games like that would be something quite special. It's not looking great for Paris right now, but you know, there are all these other major events as well. But if it does come on the docket, I mean, I'll be ready. I think, you know, my time frame on playing and stuff is going to be up until the next Pan Ams. I think that is going to be my peaking point, and hopefully retire after that. So Olympics would fall before that, you know, or around that time as well. So if it was the Olympics on the docket, then I would push for that. That would be it. So yeah, so I mean, the preparations, I believe I have 5 or 6 more good years that I'm looking at. Looking at top 50 on the Pro Tour, and also just getting Jamaica to its highest ever level, you know, in this sport.
In January this year, you turned 30, but you spoke about the young talent that is coming through, like Tajay Lumley, Bruce Burrows has been around for some time as well, Lewis Walters. So are you confident about the talent to follow, even after you may retire down the road?
Yeah, I think we have it here. Jamaicans in general are so athletic, so talented. And it's just about getting more people involved in the sport, getting people on the court. And we have a bunch of different programs. The junior squad's looking young and healthy. And Bruce manages that right now. The girls came second in the region, which is the first time in a long time that they finished that high. The boys were a little behind them, but it shows that we do have some talent in the region. Now we have to continually move that out to the world stage. We also have a bunch of initiatives exposing as many young people inner city areas as well to squash, and we just have to continue growing that. Every time I come down here, I'm on court with the national kids, the outreach programs. Anything that they ask me to do, I want to give back, and I hope at some point down the line that that my help and my giving back here will help squash as a whole, moving forward.
Yeah, you spoke about the outreach program and how it has grown and developed. So it's clear to see there's an effort to push the sport into more traditional high schools other than the private high schools across the island.
For sure, yeah. Right now we had, I think it was 2 kids from Penwood who were on the national junior squad, for the games this year, and they did very well. These were kids who had never played, and they were solely introduced to the game, from this outreach initiative. And to be very fair, Taj is also, Taj was one of them who also came up through the ranks here. There was no specific program when he was coming up, but he was helped by the squash community because they saw talent, they saw a kid who wanted to work, and now he's on the national team. He's going to the world championships. So it's not like we don't have the talent. It's we don't have the facilities yet.
Yeah.
And I think that's something to come down the road. I think my end goal would be at some point to build a public facility here, a facility that people can all get into, that the courts are not as difficult to access. That being said, we've been tremendous here with Ligani Club, always being open and opening the doors to all our programs, our initiatives, but it's a good step, but we still have bigger steps to take, and I think down the road it can only get better and it can only get bigger, with what we have right now. So
Christopher Binnie, thank you very much for your time. Really appreciate it. Well, there we have it from 9-time Caribbean champion Christopher Binnie. Jermaine, it's over to you.